Hello everybody, it's me Tian here. I hope everybody's doing great. Now, let's talk about rugby. Jeez man, I mean, the Bulls played against Leinster yesterday and yeah, what a game. What a game. I mean, Leinster played brilliantly and the Bulls, I mean, geez, it was sort of expected that Leinster was going to win the game, but the Bulls still had a chance to win the game. But yeah, I mean Leinster played brilliantly. So um, yeah, I mean the scrums. I mean the Bulls had 7 scrums. Obviously there was more, but Bulls had a total of 7 scrums that was within, and they won 6 out of the 7 scrums, which means they have a 86% success rate for the game against Leinster yesterday. But I mean, you would expect, with uh, before this game, with having a 94.7% success rate in the scrums, the Bulls, before this game, that you would and Leinster only having 89.4% success rate in the scrums before this game, that you would think that the Bulls would dominate the Leinster in a couple of the scrums, but it was the other way around. I mean, when it was Leinster's ball in the scrums, when it was Leinster's scrum, they were brilliant. I mean, geez, the Bulls uh, had 12 penalties. They had 12 penalties awarded against them the full 80 minutes, and a couple of them, I'm not 100% sure. Please let me know in the comments. But there was a couple of penalties in the scrums that the Bulls conceded on Leinster's ball, and yeah, um, and I mean, yeah, the the thing that actually the two strong points for the Bulls before heading into this match was their lineouts and their scrums. But like if you watch the game, like you saw, it was completely. I mean, yeah, the the Bulls had 17 lineouts and only won 14 out of the 17, which they have an 82% success rate this game, but I mean, which is good. I mean, you always want to have 80% or more in an area, but compared to the 86.8% line-out success rate before this game that the Bulls had, I mean, yeah, they really struggled. And in the scrums that you would expect, where the Bulls would actually be dominant, they were not. Um, it was really, really a disaster for the Bulls. And even if whether you're South African, where you supported the Bulls this weekend or not, I mean, you have to give Leinster the credit that they deserve. I mean, whether you're a Bull supporter, a Leinster supporter, doesn't matter who you support. Um, you actually have to give Leinster the credit because actually um, they actually dominated the Bulls in the scrums and uh, made the lineups difficult for the Bulls. So yeah, you have to give them credit. Um, the end game was if 32-7. Let me just make sure. Yeah, sorry, I just have to make sure. Leinster have beaten the Bulls 32-7, um, which is horrible. I mean, like I said previously, it was expected of Leinster to win, but to win like that. I mean, it's brilliant for the Leinster, but for the Bulls to lose like that, I mean, it's horrible. I mean, at half time, after the first 40 minutes, it was 19-0 for Leinster. I mean, how do you not um, that score? I mean, they had plenty of opportunities. They had 10 to 15 minutes in the first half, the last 10 to 15 minutes, where the Bulls were in Leinster's half, and they have put a lot of pressure on Leinster. But they did horribly. I mean, they had a penalty in the first half where uh, I think it was their first actual attacking position or attacking uh, good attack, but they it was right in front of the poles, and I mean, yeah, they had momentum coming um, for where they were in Leinster's 22 in the last 10-15 minutes. They had um, momentum, but I mean, being having 0 points up until where they had that penalty in front of the poles, having the opportunity to go to poles and get at least 3 points onto the board. I mean, it's not like a regular game in the season where you want to get maximum points that you would be beneficial for you to get be in the top eight, trying to get home quarters or semis or final. It's the it's a URC final. I mean, in fact, it doesn't matter what kind of final it is. It can be a World Cup final, a Super Rugby final, a Currie Cup final that we South Africans play, a URC final. Doesn't matter. If it's a final, in any um, in rugby or any sport, if it's a final, get the um, points. In this case, the 3 points that if on offer. I mean, yeah, they ultimately didn't score. They were ultimately 19-0 behind at halftime. But if the 3 points were there, I mean, take it. I mean, it's a final. I mean, if you have the opportunity to get into the point, to get points, whether you're 19-0 down or 19-0 up, or doesn't matter the score, in the first half specifically, uh, if the points are there on offer, take it. I mean, what were they thinking? But it's just me. Um, I wasn't there on the field. I wasn't there in that situation. You can say, hey, you should have taken the points or this or that or this or that. But unless you're in that specific situation, you don't know. You can't say. I mean, you don't know what's going through the player's mindset or the captain's mindset to make a specific decision. But yeah, I mean, for me it was kind of obvious. You're behind still the first off. You don't want to get blanked. Obviously the Bulls weren't blanked, but you don't want to get blanked, and yeah, get yeah, you obviously want to get points, but what can you do? Uh, and yesterday Leinster took in the first 14 minutes. In the first 14 minutes of the game, Leinster uh, scored 14 points against the Bulls in the first 14 minutes of the game. And geez, man, I mean, if coming back to that decision where, for me personally, they should have gone for a pause. If you conceded 14 points in the first 14 minutes against you, you, for me personally, want to at least get something out of it, and it obviously didn't work. But um, yeah, I mean, Leinster obviously in the first 20 minutes of the game, um, they had approximately that approximately had 80% of the possession and territory in the first 20 minutes, which is a lot. Coming back to that point where they should have went to Bulls. If Leinster, if you were the Bulls, I mean, you had 20% of the territory and possession. Then why not go for the Poles? I mean, it's there, it's on offer. It was an easy kick. Johan Goosen would have kicked it over, but yeah, what can you do? I mean, um, yeah, uh, obviously, uh, Leinster's defence for the entire game, the full 80 minutes, were superb. I mean, the only try that the Bulls had was from Akra van der Merwe in the 50th minute, and it was from a driving maul that the Bulls had in Leinster's 22. But yeah, I mean, Leinster's defence was superb, and you have to give it to Leinster. I mean, for only uh, for only having 77.8% tackle success rate before the final yesterday, to for the Leinster, to having a brilliant defensive structure, for a brilliant defence the full 80 minutes, is they really um, switched their defence up. Um, yeah, um, I mean, the Bulls, out of the four uh, seasons and the four URC finals that there was the season since us South Africans joined, the Bulls played three out of that four finals, and they lost three out of that, all three of that finals that they were in, meaning um, they have a 0% success rate coming into a final, and that's not what you as a coach and as players want. But yeah, what and I mean, Leinster scored um, four tries in the 80 minutes, and the tries were um, Jack Conan, Geordie Barrett, Josh van der Fleer, and Finton Gunn. Please, if I'm incorrect, if I mispronounced any of the names, please let me know in the comments. Yeah, they scored those four tries, and um, Sam Prendergast converted two of the four tries, and Rosburn um, converted one of those four tries. As far as I know, that was Rosburn um, only kicked goal, which was successful, meaning um, Sam Prendergast um, kicked kicked the Bulls for the first three tries and only converted two of those three tries. But also Sam Prendergast also added two penalties, and yeah, but where I want to come to is um, Jake after the game. Jake White said that Leinster's tempo and intensity was something that the Bulls uh, hasn't experienced this year or this season, and geez, I mean, yeah, um, how I mean, but yes, there's a lot of youngsters in the that was in the Bulls team, or didn't have a lot of games under their belt, But and yeah, it's the first time that this season that it was that that the Bulls players hasn't experienced. But I mean, you have players like Johan Goosen, Emrys Papier, um, Weerlig Willie at fullback, um, players like Marco van Staden, Marcel Coetzee. Um, now these type of experienced players in the Bulls squad um, had at some point in their entire rugby career coming up to this point had faced um, tempo and the tempo and intensity that Leinster brought, and not just once or twice, a lot of a lot of times. Marcel Coetzee playing for Ulster in Ireland, playing for the Sharks. I mean, yeah, and playing for the Springboks as well. He has a lot of experience and must have played um, against teams that brought a lot of tempo. And same for Emrys Papier. He has a lot of game experience. Played a couple of tests for the Springboks. Um, I'm not sure who he played for all, but he should have. He did play against a lot of teams over the year, course of his um, rugby career that he played against that brought a lot of um, tempo and intensity. I mean, same it includes the same for um, Johan Goosen and Weerlig Willie. I mean, Johan Goosen, uh, a lot of tests. He began his career, if I'm not mistaken, at the Cheetahs. Then went overseas. Then came back and playing for the Bulls. And it includes him. I mean, played for the Springbok, a couple of tests for the Springboks as well. So he's also has the experience of playing against teams that had a lot of temper and um, intensity. And I mean, Weerlig Willie. I mean, 98, 90, I think 98, 99 tests for the Springboks. Played in 2 Rugby World Cup finals. Um, played a lot for the Sharks. A lot for the Bulls. A lot for. He went overseas and played a lot there. A lot of tests for the Springboks. And so you would also expect. You also played against teams that brought a lot of tempo and intensity. And in my opinion, he played a. He didn't. He didn't play one of his. He didn't have a great game for Weerlig. He has that a lot of that experience. Playing for a lot of games for clubs for the Springboks and up to the way you read out Weerlig can play. He didn't have wat wonderse game. He didn't have the game that we are used to seeing him playing. Yeah, and uh, John Robbie, he's a former scrum half of Leinster, Ireland, and the Sharks. Also stated that the Bulls lost the game in the very first scrum, um, which actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, my dad and I tell each other that it, the game is won or lost by your forwards. I mean, if your forwards are dominated or being dominated by the opponents, then your backs are then you're not gonna have a Wat Wonderse game as well. And there's living proof of it. The Bulls struggling in the scrums, struggling in the lineouts. Um, they were dominated, and proofs in the pudding. Yeah, but I mean, what can you say? I'm really disappointed in the Bulls. They had a shocker, and I have to give it to Leinster. They played brilliantly. Um, the try that, specifically the try that Geordie Barrett um, scored. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, um, they Leinster went for a box kick. It was partially charged down by a Bulls player. He still there's still a ball still went over the advantage line forward for Leinster, but Bulls um, had a hand on it, and but no, Geordie Barrett, being a world class player, um, chasing the kick, and I mean kicking that ball, that loose ball after the box kick, and gathering the ball and scoring a try was fantastic. Um, yeah, I mean, if whether you're a South African fan or not, I mean, you have to say, for me personally, you don't have to agree with me, but that was a brilliant try from Jody Barrett. But yeah, um, that's from me. I hope um, everybody is having a great day further. Please like and subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comments. If I missed anything, or if you don't agree with some things that I say, please let me know in the comments. Um, yeah, thank you for supporting me in this journey. I really appreciate it. And yeah, this is me, Tian, signing out.